You've probably heard people talk about mind control like it's some superpower, like if you just learn the right tricks, you can bend anyone to your will. But here's the uncomfortable truth most gurus won't say out loud. Mind control isn't for everyone, and in a broken world, that might actually save your life. Think about every collapse scenario you've ever imagined. Blackouts, food shortages, social order cracking at the edges. When fear spreads faster than information, the real battlefield isn't the streets, it's inside people's heads. And that's where mind control myths get dangerous. Because the first survival insight is this: people who try to control others usually underestimate how unpredictable humans become under stress. When systems fail, the brain shifts into primitive mode. Logic thins out, emotions spike, trust becomes fragile. Anyone aggressively trying to manipulate others stands out fast, and in survival psychology, standing out is often the first step toward becoming a target. The practical takeaway is simple. Blend in emotionally before you ever try to influence. In disasters, the calmest person in the room quietly sets the tone without saying much at all. This section is based on practical field survival experience rather than formal academic sources. Here's the second hard truth. Real influence isn't about domination, it's about regulation. Military and emergency response research shows that humans subconsciously synchronize with the emotional state of whoever appears most grounded. Heart rate, breathing, even decision-making speed start to mirror that person. So when people obsess over mind control techniques, phrases, tricks, psychological hacks, they miss the biology. If your nervous system is chaotic, your influence collapses. But if you slow your breathing, lower your voice, and move deliberately, people around you start feeling safer without knowing why. A practical example? In any tense group situation, speak last, not first. Let others burn out their anxiety, then respond slowly and clearly. People will follow the emotional stability, not the loudest idea. This section is based on practical field survival experience rather than formal academic sources. The third insight gets darker. In post-collapse environments, manipulation backfires because memory sharpens under threat. Studies on trauma show that people remember betrayal far longer than kindness. In a functioning society, you can get away with subtle manipulation because social systems absorb the damage. In survival conditions, grudges become currency. Someone you controlled yesterday may be the same person deciding whether to share water with you tomorrow. The smarter move is something most dark psychology channels ignore: transparent self-interest. Say what you want and why you want it. Humans are surprisingly tolerant of honest motives when resources are scarce. The takeaway is counterintuitive. Being openly selfish but fair builds more trust than pretending to be altruistic while secretly pulling strings. This section is based on practical field survival experience rather than formal academic sources. Now let's talk about attention, because attention is the real scarce resource after a collapse. Mind control narratives tell you to hijack it. Survival science tells you to conserve it. The brain under constant threat has limited cognitive fuel. People gravitate toward whoever simplifies decisions, not whoever complicates them. If you flood people with clever arguments, they disengage. But if you reduce choices, 2 options instead of 10, you become indispensable. This isn't manipulation, it's cognitive load management. The practical takeaway is to frame decisions in binaries during stress: safe or unsafe, now or later, stay or move. You're not controlling minds, you're protecting them from overload. This section is based on practical field survival experience rather than formal academic sources. Here's where the myth of mind control really collapses. Power attracts attention, and attention attracts risk. History shows that leaders in unstable environments rarely die from lack of influence. They die from too much visibility. The smartest survivors don't sit at the center of control. They orbit it. They influence quietly, one-on-one, building micro-trust instead of mass loyalty. In practical terms, that means never positioning yourself as the one with all the answers. Ask questions. Echo others' ideas. Let someone else take credit. Influence spreads sideways far more safely than it does from the top down. This section is based on practical field survival experience rather than formal academic sources. The final insight is the one nobody likes, because it kills the fantasy completely. You can't control minds you don't understand, and under survival stress, people change fast. Hunger rewires morality. Fear reshapes identity. The most dangerous assumption is thinking yesterday's psychology still applies today. The real skill isn't mind control, it's rapid rereading of human behavior. Watch sleep patterns, watch appetite, watch who talks less than usual. Those signals tell you more than any persuasion technique ever will. The takeaway is brutal but honest. Survival favors adaptability over dominance. The moment you think you've figured people out is the moment you fall behind. This section is based on practical field survival experience rather than formal academic sources. So if you were hoping for secret phrases, hidden triggers, or mental cheat codes, this video probably disappointed you. But if you're serious about surviving uncertainty, real uncertainty, then remember this. Mind control isn't for everyone because survival doesn't reward control. It rewards awareness, restraint, and the quiet ability to steady yourself while the world loses its balance. And in the end, the person who can control their own fear will always outlast the person trying to control everyone else.